The FIVB Beach Volleyball World Tour has come to the USA. 48 teams started out, but now only 2 are left. It's time for the men's final right here at Huntington Beach. Hello and welcome to the west coast of the United States. Clayton Lucas here with you for our final match of this Huntington Beach Open, presented by the AVP. This FIVB 4-star event has boiled down to the gold medal match as the Netherlands take on Brazil. Alexander Brouwer and Robert Musen of the Netherlands up against Evandro and Andre from Brazil. Clayton Lucas here with you for this, and I'm delighted to be joined by Richard Lambourne, the Olympic gold medalist for the United States in 2008 indoors, now coaching on the tour, coaching a very talented duo of Jake Gibb and Taylor Crabb. This should be an absolute belter, shouldn't it?
It should be, and I think there's going to be some fireworks from the service line for both teams, Clayton.
We've certainly seen that throughout the course of this week, and in the semi-final matches, those of you that watch those semi-finals would have seen just how hard these teams can, one, spike the ball, and two, serve the ball. Evandro has an excellent jump serve, and then Brouwer as well can get up there and hit it very, very hard. And then add into that, you've got two really big guys in the form of Evandro, who can block well, and Musen as well from the Netherlands, who's an excellent blocker.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's meet the referees. Personally, my favorite pair, and I mean that. The first referee from Puerto Rico, Mr. Carlos Rivera.
Carlos Rivera is the first referee from Puerto Rico up on the stand for today's game.
Carlos Saavedra.
And Juan Carlos Saavedra from Colombia is the second referee down on the sand. We wish those two the best of luck. And as always, we'll know if they've had a good game because we won't notice them.
Let's get on our feet, ladies and gentlemen, one more time. Let's go. Pier side, get on up. Come on, one time.
On-court announcer Mark Sherman getting the crowd ready for this one.
Like
he does such a good job.
It is time.
Keeping the crowd engaged when the volleyball's not
gold medal final.
And getting the crowd
one more time for gold here at Huntington Beach. Are you stoked for the gentlemen's gold? Oh my gosh, this is a huge matchup, and I mean huge. Two of the tallest teams in the world. We start with the Netherlands, and this first guy is 6 feet 9 inches tall. He's got 5 gold medals. He won the World Championships with his partner in 2013. Looking for gold number 6, and it's looking real good. It is Robert Musen.
That comes Robert Musen. He's got 5 World Tour wins, $358,000 in prize money.
Since 2011, almost their entire FIVB career together. And wait till you see this guy hit. He crushes balls. He is the best hitter in the world. You're gonna love him. It's Alexander Brouwer.
Alexander Brouwer, 29 from The Hague. 5 World Tour wins, $366,000 in prize money. And notably, these two, having started in 2011, won the World Championship in Stereowanki in Poland in 2013.
First up, the blocker slash defender at 6 feet 11 inches tall. One of the most dominant players in the world. They won the World Championships last year. the defending tour champions. First gentleman, 3 server in the world, coming in hot line is Eva.
Evandro will be looking to make an impression in this fight as well. His serving has been
23 years old. What a future this guy has. He might have Olympic gold written all over him, ladies and gentlemen, and you're about to find out why. You're gonna fall in love with Andre Loyola.
Well, the youngest player on court, perhaps the most inexperienced, but pales into insignificance because it's the 2017 World Champions Brazil taking on the 2013 World Champions and the 2016 bronze medalists from the Olympic Games in the form of the Netherlands. This is high-quality beach volleyball. And the crowd have stayed out in force for this one.
This is what we want to see, Clayton. The big bombers duel it out for the gold right here.
It's Brazil in green with the serve. The Netherlands in the white and blue receiving this best-of-3 set match. And Evandro is coming in hot, as Mark Sherman, the on-court announcer, said. And it's an ace serve right off the bat.
Thousands of people in the crowd watching this match. 0 of them surprised that Evandro started off with an ace.
Not quite getting the contact he would have liked with that one. And so that sends back to the serving line, and the Netherlands' strongest rotation with Mewson at the net. The play from Andre. He was a little guilty in the semi-final. For those of you that watched it would have seen it. For those of you that didn't, of trying to hit too many shots. But in the end, it paid off for him. Still has yet to have what the guys that likes to hit more shot.
Nice swing there from Robbie Mewson off the right side. Yeah, Andre Loyola, certainly physical. He's tall, he can fly. Not quite the classic arm swing that we're going to see out of an Evandro or an Alex Brouwer on the certainly gets the job done just based on pure physicality alone.
Mewson with the serve. He'll go through to block. Nicely done. Evandro knew he couldn't get a set on that one. It was a little bit too tight to the net. Gets the pokey, and unfortunately for the Netherlands, Mewson swatting it away from where Brouwer was going. And that's one of those situations, though, as a defender, you just have to accept that.
You talked about that very thing earlier. Do you just let it go because you guys both made the correct read? And I think you do if you're Holland.
Good up from Andre. Hoisted high. Their block defense. Brouwer coming now. Big swing from him, and he's just caught the sideline.
We're in store for a good match here. Bludgeoning hit after bludgeoning hit for both sides, I think, is what we're going to get. Andre blocking angle there, but Alex showing that he can go.
Have an out-and-out blocker in Mewson. Brazil employing a 50-50. Both players capable of blocking, both players playing defense, and it works well for Brazil, especially with Evandro serving here. Doesn't then have to run into that. He can really go after his jump serve, knowing Andre is going to be in there trying to make the blocks.
We saw him start this match off with an ace and then follow it up with an error, but I think their game plan on the Brazilian side is they can abide a few extra errors because his serve is such a weapon. They want to go for those aces.
Nice play. Brazil not afraid to go after Mewson at 2.7 meters, reaching around about the 350 mark on the net. They're not worried because Evandro can take him on. Can get up just as high and block.
Just your standard 6'10 versus 6'11 there at the net on a Sunday afternoon here in Surf City.
Oh, that's a great serve. Brilliant swing from Mewson. Just catching Andre a little bit by surprise. He didn't leave a lot of line. He didn't take a step, couldn't get round to contain the ball.
That is certainly an arrow he's added to his quiver more recently, Robbie Mewson, that jump serve. He's typically been a jump float serve guy and a very effective one at that.
Well, it looked for a minute as if Andre had got the block, but it went down his own side.
Next time you're at your local beach playing volleyball, try and jump serve, sprint 30 feet, attack the overpass. It's how hard that is.
Well, that time in the air wasn't quite what he wanted as he threw that up. He ended up twisting and just falling a little bit to his left and lost his contact height as a result.
You talked earlier about service routines, and one of the purposes of a routine is to give yourself repeatedly the same toss. Robbie kind of missing the mark there a little bit on that last one. Nice shot though. Give his team back to service.
Great serve from Brouwer. Chance now for the Netherlands. Nice work by Andre. But he's unable to find the sideline, and the pressure from the Netherlands from the serving line paying off.
Robbie had that line down, it looked like. Andre tried to find a little bit, unable to do so.
Well, the wind just getting, I want to call probably a little bit more gusty around the court. It's a little bit unpredictable as to what it's doing. And it's just causing a few issues, nothing major. It certainly means the players having to work that little bit harder to control the ball. Andre now with the serve. Cross court against Brouwer, line against Mewson. In terms of where they're going to block. And, oh, that was one of those ones where both thinking they probably should have got it.
So much power being shown by all these players, though, that it kind of opens up those soft little shots if you use them sparingly and tactfully enough.
If Andre will go back to serve, he creates his little runway in the middle of court, which he'll then come back down to deliver his serve. The risk and reward with jump serving, similar to the indoor game, it's high risk, but the rewards can be very, very big. Andre holding his ground and cushioning that serve, and then getting a decent block out as well off of Mewson, who jumped into the angle.
Alexander Brouwer digging in the angle behind him as well, looked like. Clearly Holland thinks that Andre likes the angle from the left side. I'd have to agree with him, Clayton.
It's something that he did consistently in the semi-final. Netherlands trying to double up. Has that caught the block? No. That was some extremely high contact point from the attack as well as the block.
What we would refer to as an aggressive mistake. Holland will take that all day long. Nice high swing from Robbie Mewson, just barely missing that time.
Well, that was unfortunate, as if the ball certainly affected the outcome of what was going to happen. And if Andre jumped and nearly went into the net, so had to take his hands away so he didn't go into the net. That's what it looked like. I don't think he took him away because he thought there was going to be a roll shot coming or a block out, but unfortunately, Mewson makes the error. 10-all. After this point, we'll have the technical timeout, and it is the Netherlands who will have the lead going into that tech timeout.
Much better offensive rhythm that time from the Netherlands. Perfect pass, perfect set, and a good high hard swing from Robbie Musen off the right.
And that creates an interesting dilemma for Evandro in particular against Musen. Is he can get up as high as Musen, but it's when he presses, it's no good just being high, because if he's not closing down the angle, closing down the space, he's going to get tooled like that all day long. As we have a quick look at the comparison between the two teams, world rankings, 3 in it, tournament seedings, well, there's 5 in it, and Evandro and Andre are the number 2 seeds. And in terms of their tournament record and sets played, Evandro and Andre have come straight through to this final, and so have had less games to play. But all of that really kind of goes out the window now. It's one game, winner takes all.
3 less matches for the Brazilian side, but as you mentioned, once you're in the gold medal match, none of that is relevant anymore. You give everything you got for the gold.
It's Musen to serve. That's close. The one thing that has come to light more than ever with the challenge system, both indoors and on the beach, is just how much that ball impacts and crushes down once it contacts the floor, almost its circumference.
Right, that's what the referees go and take a look at, is kind of the outer rim of the circumference of that ball mark. It looked like that was in fact out. Andro's still somewhat incensed by that call, albeit the right one.
Even in slow motion, we got a 25 frames per second, and we see that. We don't see it impact with the technology they have in the challenge. They've got hundreds of frames per second and can see the ball compress down. But even then, that didn't look as if it had caught the line at all. You can only go by what you see. The referee giving Brazil the courtesy of going down to have a look at the ball mark, not dismissing it straight away. Still, though, only 1 point in it. Evandro with the serve. That's great work from Brouwer. He's like a little bulldog. He's so tenacious on everything he does. Really commits to the play. Once he knows he's going to hit, that's it. It's hit.
And he's kind of the perfect example of that concept we talk about going in to hit every time with that mentality and shooting from there if you decide to.
Massive block from Musen. There was nowhere for Evandro to roll that one.
A little bit squirrely on the timing from the Brazilian side, and Robbie Musen just waiting for it nicely with both arms at the net. Almost got that with his elbows, it looked like.
Ace serve from Brouwer. And the Netherlands beginning to take control of this first set. They lead by 4.
Great variety from Alexander Brouwer there. He went with the kind of the cut serve the time before and then just bombed that one right up the gut. And I know you're studying body language of the teams in the timeout.
Well, there's one thing to be said. The Dutch are always relaxed, no matter what. Very rarely you see them get agitated about anything.
Is that a Amsterdam coffee shop reference? Is that?
They're just pretty cool, relaxed people. I think it's, like you said, a cultural thing. Evandro is certainly the one player who is a little bit more lively, and will no doubt he's got an interesting role, Evandro. He's the elder statesman in this duo. He's the one with more experience, and for Andre, who's a talented player without any question, still learning his way through. So Andre's learning from Evandro. So Evandro needs to make sure, I'm sure at times he's probably thinking, and has to just calm it, temper it down a bit, which is going to be good for Evandro as well. Which is why perhaps we see Evandro taking out a little bit on the referees as it just deflects away from what's happening as a team. And that's a really good swing from him.
Certainly by Brazil. Consider Andre understated.
And the talent pool within Brazil, similarly within the US, is just phenomenal. So many good players. And that's been highlighted actually here at the Huntington Beach Open. Lots of US teams that we don't normally see competing here, and the standard has been absolutely phenomenal across the board. And to be able to represent the USA on the World Tour means you have to be really, really good. Similarly for the Brazilian teams as well.
A nice slow-mo look there on the replay of 6'10" versus 6'11", everybody with head and shoulders above the net. That net 8 feet high. Nice serve there from Robbie Musen.
Nice mix-up. He's been hitting some of the jump serves. This time taking some of the pace out of the ball, and that affects the way you have to pass the ball as well. You can't set up like it's going to be a jump serve. There's less energy in it. You have to put a bit back in. Andre not quite doing that. Good play from Andre.
Really nice job of hanging and kind of changing the direction of his swing there mid-air from Andre. Goes up, they look to take his typical angle shot. He pikes and cuts it just down the line past the block. Nicely done from the young Brazilian.
Swing from Brouwer. Andre jumping out of the way and leaving Ivandro to face that one. It's funny, you look at Andre, he looks quite short. He's actually 2 meters and 1. It's incredible. Well, that was a really good swing from Brouwer himself. Actually down as the shortest player at 198 on the court. Interesting set, but no arguments from Brazil. Perhaps for the purists, it might have been seemed to be a double touch.
Yeah, if you're a purist, you're not going to like watching Robbie Musen set. He's got sort of clunky looking hands, but they come out, the sets come out consistently well, and certainly well located, as his partner Alexander Brouwer would attest.
Good touch. That just put it in a good position, but it's hoisted back over. Another chance now for Brazil as Andre gets ready to deliver. And he's got it off the block and away. Musen not closing down the angle quickly enough. And it looks like another one that's come off of his, almost off his triceps.
Problem I never had in the entirety of my volleyball career, Clayton, was being too high above the net.
Some of these guys just showing off really with how high they get. Ivandro doing that as he shuts down Brouwer. And it's that combination of height and then presence and getting across to close down the angles. He's this so close to the ball that actually Brouwer's got nowhere to go. Excellent block from Ivandro.
Really nice look at the timing and the handwork from Ivandro on that replay.
And some of these top players that we're seeing here, these 4 guys, Musen, and then Dalhauser, Allison, Ricardo, and Gibb as well. These guys can get up and get across the net. It's not, and that then changes the dynamic of beach volleyball again, because a lot of times on the beach you're going up and you're trying to not necessarily, you're making like what we call like a beach block, where you want to get something on it, maybe throw it back as the shots are coming. But with these guys going up and being able to hit like indoors, to be able to compete, you need to be able to block like an indoor player. And these guys do it brilliant. No doubt Nick Lucena is certainly a player whose career has just thrived having Dalhauser in front of him. Oh, good serve! Unfortunately, Brouwer is not the one. He couldn't get out of the way of that as he tried to do his best Matrix impression. But he's clipped. Ivandro and Andre get a point back. They're 3 behind though. One side out here for the Netherlands will bring up set point. Oh, they get it, despite Ivandro getting as far into the cross court as he could. Brouwer still able to find an angle.
If Brouwer gets stopped more than once in a row, you can take it to the bank that he is going to unload on his next offering.
Something that Ricardo for Brazil was famous for. If you blocked him, you knew the next one was coming with plenty of pace on it. And it's an unforced error from Andre. The Netherlands take the first set, 21-16, and lead 1-0.
You mentioned big blockers, Phil Dahlhauser and the like. I'm convinced that Phil Dahlhauser could pick up my 8-year-old nephew and podium in at least 3 tournaments a season. And we might see Ivandro and Robbie Musin in that same category.
When you've got guys who can go up and just take so much of the court. And when you look back and you think about what are the most difficult things to do as a blocker, block cross court at the net is really difficult. If you think you're trying to take away, what, 70 or 80% of the court at the net. And yet these guys are taking it to a whole new level. And cross court blocking isn't a problem because they can close down that angle and just not let you have that ability to go there. And if you do, you have to go over the top. But then you have to go so high, the defender's behind. If it's your 8-year-old nephew, can have a cup of tea before they go and run the ball down.
We go with apple juice here, Clayton. We're not a tea-drinking nation.
They're very healthy.
Yeah, I guess if you don't count kombucha, which is the new fad.
Sounds interesting.
Yeah.
And it's looking interesting down on court at the moment as these budding athletes show us just how well they can run in a straight line after running around in a circle for a bit. Well, some of them even struggling to stay upright after running around. Now they've got to try and get themselves to the other end of the court. Well, I don't think they've been giving it their all, and the prize should go to the girl who fell on the floor because she obviously put it into it. Oh, mind the post!
I didn't realize this was a halftime game. I thought this was a Vertigo screening.
Incredible.
I think last summer at one of the AVP events, they made a video clip of a kid who did this game and actually did run into the padding of the ref stand.
So the fun stuff over, back to the serious stuff now. As the second set is about to get underway here on centre court. Cracking first set, Brouwer and Musin taking it 21-16. Second set underway, Ivandro with the serve for Brazil. Andre saying he's going to make cross-court blocks, but that won't be happening as Andre sees Ivandro put that one a little bit too far. Great pass from Andre, and a great put away as well. You wouldn't think he was the rookie of these 4 players. Watching him in action here, it's like he's been doing this his whole life. He probably has, to be fair to him, in Brazil. It's just that we're only seeing him now. But what an impact he's making. And now's a good time for the likes of these teams. It's the beginning of a new cycle. Most teams, to be fair, indoors and beach, base their cycles around the Olympic Games. And with the 2016 Olympics only really just finished, teams finding their groove now, finding their partners ahead of Tokyo 2020. And for these two, they've got to be thinking that they're in with a good shout of perhaps becoming a team that represents Brazil at the Olympic Games.
Yeah, the reigning world champions, and you would think they would only crescendo towards the Olympics. You have to like their chances going forward. We were speculating the other day, is there even a juniors program in Brazil, or do you just come out of the womb and 2 years later you're polished and you're on the world tour?
It's talked about a lot, the strength in depth of certain nations, in Brazil one of those, not just on the beach but indoors as well. There's so many talented players. It was once, not sure how much of a truth there is in it, but one of the training camps for the Brazil national team was run around the track And if you cut, that was the first thing they looked at. And if you're not quick enough around the track, well, we're not even going to look at you. We haven't even seen your volleyball skill yet. At the moment, though, for Andre and Evandro, they are trailing in this. Well, that's been given as in, but it did look out. Certainly the referee has agreed that it's long no arguments from the Netherlands. It was actually the short line who gave it as in. The long line said it was out.
The rope holding the lines down into the sand doesn't count as in, unfortunately, for Brouwer Musen.
Oh, where's that one going to go? Well, it could have gone anywhere, and you can't legislate for that. That could have just so easily been a sorry, not sorry. As it is, Brouwer Musen have side out.
How often do you see that where it hits the tape and goes sideways and crawls across the tape?
Wind right into the face of Musen there, rips that jump serve. Well dealt with by Evandro, but a chance here now. Brouwer with an opportunity, quick ball out wide, and Evandro can't deal with it. Brouwer and Musen are looking really solid. They may be the 2013 world champions, they may be up against the current world champions, but they're certainly a team that are looking the better of the two right now.
And that's kind of one of the ancillary benefits of the jump serve that we talked about. Evandro handled it fairly well, but it's got so much spin off his arms that it's very difficult to set for his partner. And that kind of set that got off the net created that point scoring opportunity for the Netherlands.
Andre almost made Brouwer's mind up for him then, jumping way into the cross and opened up so much line. Brouwer would have been foolish not to have gone to it.
I like that move from Andre, but I think he might have been a touch early showing it.
Just phenomenal swing from Evandro.
When you're 6'11" and you have essentially Indiana Jones's bullwhip attached to your right shoulder, you can just go ahead and disregard the 6'10" block at times.
Cleverly done by Brouwer. Came in like he was going to hit hard, something you've talked about already, and then just slowed it up, kept Andre deep in the corner.
Yeah, I love the variety we're seeing offensively from Brouwer. He's really doing a nice job of making the defense dig in by hitting the ball a ton. And then he throws, what a spear there.
Two incredible pieces of volleyball, a magnificent dig, and then Evandro with arguably the hit of the match so far. Here comes the dig. And then that's the hit. Wow, just incredible.
That almost knocked the wind out of me up here. This is less a volleyball match and more a study in blunt force trauma.
Well, you can forgive him that. He was trying to roll it, but it was almost as if he got in front of the ball and left it behind him.
Tough to say if that toss got away from him and he was perhaps just trying to keep that in, because the wind is in his favor here for him to unleash some of those bombs from the end line.
Good dig from Brouwer, but it won't stay on the Netherlands side. Andre with another chance, but this time he's gifted that one. A dolly dropper to Brouwer, who's going to punish Brazil as he wipes it off of Evandro and away. And it's now a 4-point lead for Brouwer and Musen. Brazil calling the timeout.
Alex's arm's so quick that if your hands aren't over and penetrating into Dutch airspace, as it were, there, you are not going to get that block.
When you talk about hitting, it's not about the power. You talk about not hitting it hard, but hitting it with pace, with speed. You want to get that arm whipping through the ball.
Agreed. Yeah, there's lots of variety with which you can kill the ball out here on the beach. So you have your pace, you have your direction, and you kind of have these different speeds with which you can hit the ball. Right? One of my coaching idols, Tyler Hildebrand, talks about throwing darts. You know, you see guys that bomb angle or roll this high line. If that's all you've got, defenders cue into that very quickly and can dig the ball or run the shot down. But if you can throw darts at the elbow, we saw kind of a quick dart-esque type of a swing there from Brouwer on that. Just snuck it through the block before the block could really get set up by Evandro.
Big serve. Andre keeps it in play. He'll have a swing opportunity, and that was a nice put away from him. Good recovery from Brazil. Excellent serving from the Netherlands. They're certainly making Brazil work for their points. Cross-court block signaled against Brouwer. Line block signaled against Mewison. It's Brouwer with the work to be done. And that time, Andre sat a little too far into the cross-court with Evandro saying he was going to be blocking cross-court.
Phenomenal high reach here from Brouwer. We see him just extend that arm high up and over the big blocker from Brazil. Excellent technique there.
Nice play from Brouwer, just held his ground. Still in play. Unfortunately though for Mewison, having to go with his non-dominant hand, didn't get the control he would have liked to bring it down in time. Brouwer winning the standoff though between him and Andre early on in that rally to make the first dig. Andre now saying he wants to block cross-court against Brouwer.
Interesting to see Evandro go with the float serve from this side, is it not?
Well, he's had a couple, as we saw earlier. He had one where the ball ended up behind him. It is gusting a little bit into the faces of the players. I guess he just wanted to make sure the ball is going in there, chasing this set to a degree. Errors will be costly. And they too, a bit like the Netherlands, are doing very well. They want to make their opposition play the ball inside out. That looks like a double. There was a complaint from the Netherlands straight away. Ref was the call, but they're not the refs. You have to play to the whistle.
Agreed, you have to play to the whistle. Robbie Mewison didn't even jump on the block. He thought that was so bad. I tend to agree with him on that play, but you do have to wait for the referee's judgment.
And that's the one thing as that ball is put in, we go into the technical timeout. These decisions, setting, handling, it's subjective. And it's, whilst you have the framework, you have the rules that are written down by the FIVB that everyone adheres to, the world governing body rules, and it says what it should be, it's still subjective, because to your one referee that was perfectly fine, but to another it was a double or it was a carry. So you can't legislate that, you just have to play.
A little bit like balls and strikes in American baseball, you just want consistency out of your referee. And I think that was Robbie Mewison's point to the up ref, is that, hey, you called the one on me earlier. Where was the call of consistency on that one on Evandro?
Andre readies himself to serve. The sun now into the faces of the Netherlands. And even though they have their sunglasses on, it will still be a little bit tricky as Evandro makes an excellent block.
Nice job staying home there from the big Brazilian. I think Alex kind of thought he was going to dive angle on that. Tried to sneak one by him on the line. Evandro doing a really great job of being disciplined with his right hand there.
Good leave from Brouwer. Just checking to see who's going to serve.
For all you young players, excellent job from Alexander Brouwer. They're following that ball all the way to the line and looking it out of bounds.
Wilson going with the jump serve, and again, as he threw that, the ball's coming back towards him, and you do have to make allowances, not only on your toss on the jump serve, but also on your setting. If the wind's blowing into your face, you can't just make a regular set, you have to set into the wind. Same with the toss of the ball, you have to toss it further away from you, knowing it's going to come back. Good dig from Ivandro. Free ball, though, for the Netherlands. And that one's rattled around off the block and away. And despite the best efforts of Brazil, the Netherlands are keeping them at arm's length.
Tough to tell on our stream here as we look at Brouwer kill that ball high through the hands of Andre Loyola, but it's getting swirly out here on Stadium Court. Kind of some missed sets, some ball handling mistakes that you wouldn't expect out of these guys on some relatively easy looking plays.
Good read. Oh, what a put away! What a put away. There was hardly any room. That ball had to go straight down to go in.
How quick is the arm swing of Robbie Musen here? Great up there from Brouwer, and kaboom.
It was like a middle hit indoors.
Up and feasting in a hurry is the big Dutchman.
And an ace serve to back it up from Brouwer. And the Netherlands now beginning to show a clean pair of heels here to Brazil.
Where having an arm as quick as the arm of Alexander Brouwer comes in handy, because with that ball blowing around, you want to be able to pull the trigger in a hurry, and he certainly did there with the cross-court ace.
And when you look at that, what for the younger players that are watching this and wanting to develop a quick arm swing, how would they go about doing that?
Well, without getting too technical, one of the things that he does phenomenally well is a double arm lift. You see as he approaches, he throws those arms back to prepare himself to jump, comes up, loads that shoulder low, and just whips it through the ball in a hurry. Just like Ivandro does there, going high off the block of Robbie Musen. See that elbow get low, that shoulder gets loaded, and he whips it through.
Andre now with the serve. A change of blocking tactics from Brazil. Line is the call against Brouwer. Sitting in the cross court to try and make a dig, but it's just hit too hard for Andre. Musen with the serve, he's in at the net. That's a little tight. And Musen not making the block. Brouwer makes the pick up and gets the put away. And the lead is increasing for the Netherlands.
As they inch closer to yet another gold medal this season, I'll step out, see if I can't get a couple words from them on the court afterwards. Clayton, it's been a pleasure, my friend.
It is hotting up now. It does. Are going to take this one. Andre gets that one away cross court. Perhaps just a token effort though in the grand scheme of things. Brouwer and Musen have been superb in this match. But don't write off Brazil just yet. That was a great serve, but what a great pickup and a great put away from Brouwer. And that just about sums up the way the Netherlands have played this game. No matter what Brazil have thrown at them, they've had an answer for it. Ivandro with a great serve, but it's Brouwer who comes up with a great cross-court cut. And it's a massive block to back up the cut shot from Brouwer. Lights out from Musen. It's an eclipse on Stadium Court as that one goes down. It's now match point for Brouwer and Musen. Well, you can forgive him for that. He was trying to finish in style, going with a massive jump serve. First match point saved. One side out required. Brouwer for gold. And again, fluffing his lines. Second match point saved. The crowd on their feet here at Huntington Beach. Andre with the serve. Brazil clinging on to this match, but that's it, it's all over. It's Brouwer and Mewson who reign supreme at Huntington Beach. They take the gold medal. They have beaten Evandro and Andre 21-16, 21-15. The 2013 world champions, 2016 Olympic bronze medalists have beaten the 2017 world champions. And they have done it in style. An emphatic victory for Brouwer and Mewson. And despite having played more matches, were not at all fatigued. The crowd really enjoying the volleyball and appreciating the effort put in by Brouwer and Mewson. Fantastic, fantastic performance from them. Players having a quick celebration with their coaches, and rightly so. The game plan was perfect, and it was perfectly executed. Brouwer and Mewson, gold medalists here at Huntington Beach. Commiserations to Brazil. It wasn't to be for Evandro and Andre. But the sun is shining on Brouwer and Mewson. It's Dutch delight here at Huntington Beach as the Netherlands win this FIVB 4-star event. Quick pose for the photographers. Broad smiles from Brouwer and Mewson. And now Richard Lamble is down on centre court, ready to have a chat with our winners. Let's hear what they have to say.
Alex, Robbie, you guys always serve tough, but it seemed like particular effort was given to your service game in that match.
Yeah, I think service made the big difference in this game, and you could see in this win, these circumstances, they had a lot of trouble, and yeah, that's a big effort from our side. I'm really happy with that, because some parts in this tournament we were just serving quite easy, so I'm really happy that in this final we showed how we want to play.
And we're seeing a jump serve out of you, not just a jump float these days.
Yeah, new thing we're practicing in the winter, but yeah, most credit to Alex today. This guy was serving with the wind and against the wind. It didn't matter for him. It was just bombing serves everywhere. So.
You guys are like a Wiz Khalifa song. All you do is win, 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 right? Congratulations, guys. Great tournament. Congratulations on the gold medal.
Thanks.
Awesome.
Congratulations indeed. Fantastic performance from the Netherlands. Well, here are the highlights. And so a fantastic week of beach volleyball comes to an end here at Huntington Beach. We hope you've enjoyed the volleyball. From myself, Clayton Lucas, and Rich Lambourne, it's time to say goodbye. Goodbye.